What is going on, everybody? It is Alex coming back at you with another video, and today we are going to be doing another mock draft. One round, no trades, mock draft Monday. Let's get right into it. If you guys are new, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. We'd love you guys to join the community. We are trying to push now for 6K. We just breached, I believe, 5,600 not too long ago. So if you guys could support me on that, that would be awesome. Of course, if you haven't already, join the Discord. We do stuff over there that we can't do here on YouTube, like tape studies and all 22, because again, copyright issues. I've already dealt with a lawsuit over that, so don't really want to do with any more of those. So just go join the Discord. It's perfectly free. So again, join it. You're the only one who's missing out. Well, I'm missing out on you, but at the same time, you guys are missing out on some great free content for yourself. Have a community over there of over 250 people. It is awesome. Let's get right into the mock draft though. So starting off at pick number 1, I'm first going to move this over a little bit. There we go. Beautiful. You guys can't see that. I have to do that. But number 1, we don't need to waste much time here. Bryce Young's going to be the guy. We all know is the big differentiator in my opinion. Again, you choose positions like edge rusher and quarterback because they're the biggest wins above replacement position. What that means is they're most valuable. If you hit it, you do well, you're going to be set for a long period of time. They're going to make a big impact compared to other positions. It's your biggest return on investment. Bryce Young, significantly better than Davis Mills. If you're having to debate whether Kyle Allen, Davis Mills, or Jeff Driscoll need to start, you can't say quarterback's not the problem. So I definitely think that this team has more issues than one. But, I definitely do believe that Bryce Young is probably going to be the biggest mover of the needle. And he's a great quarterback. He's by far the best in the class. And I think by a very, very, very good margin. So we'll see about that. Again, this is no trades, so I'm trying to, my mind was already starting to plan where I was going to be going with trades. Gotta wait for tomorrow for the trades mock draft because I like to have the most updated draft order for something I'm going to do multiple rounds of. So, pick number 2 for the Bears. If you're sitting here, man, I really wish Seattle were sitting here. It's tough because Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, both of them are going to be incredible. The issue is, what is our next pick? Our next pick is 56th. That's a long ways away. So it really is, it's a 2-horse race, and you can't go wrong with either. I think that this edge class is very deep. It's getting a lot thinner. This entire class is getting very thin. But Jalen Carter is looked at as a unicorn prospect. Will Anderson, you're still seeing even someone like Dallas Turner come out with 95% of his talent level next year from the same school, right? So you do have edge rushers that come out all the time who are very, very talented. You missed out on one this year, there's going to be another one. But there's not many guys who were dominant at 19 years of age like Jalen Carter, continued it this year. And, he was injured part of the year, came back, and is still dominant. I don't like his inconsistencies, but the fact is, it's a lot more consistent than people who have issues with consistency over. I wish Jalen Carter was just, that much more consistent every single snap he's blowing up the play. At a certain point, you just got to accept the fact that, on 90% of plays, Jalen Carter's going to be a monster. On 10%, he'll be ineffective. And I'm going to take that probably 9.5 out of 10 times over something like Will Anderson, where he's effective 9.5 out of 10 plays. So I love both, but you really can't go wrong with either. I'm going to go with Jalen Carter here. I think it's the right move. I do. Again, the drop-off between him and the next defensive interior, even though it looks like Brian Breezy's that close, he's not. We'll just be 100% honest here. He's not. Brian Breezy has a great level of talent. He'll still go in this mock draft, but the talent level, there's a big differentiation in the talent gap. And it doesn't even have to pertain to injury or consistency. It's just the talent gap between Jalen Carter and Brian Breezy is exponential versus Will Anderson and somebody else. Not so much. And I love Will Anderson. You see him, he's number 1 on my board, for Christ's sakes. But again, you're seeing other edges like Jared Verse in that category too. I know the Bears aren't exactly in range for that. However, you guys get my drift. So pick number 3. This is an easy one. If it falls into your lap, you take whatever is left over of Jalen Carter and Will Anderson. If you guys are worried about a QB, yes, this is a spot where you could potentially take one. I don't think this quarterback class is good. I don't. Even Bo Nix just decided to return last night. That guts me. It really does. The fact is, Max Duggan is looking like a draftable prospect. And I like Max, all respect to him, but in terms of NFL talent, not exactly there. So you really do look at this quarterback class. I'm surprised Tanner McKee came out, but literally, it's like, I'm sorry, it's not good. It's not. So it's a bit disappointing, to be blunt. But if you are sitting here at number 4, as the Arizona Cardinals are, I would be heavily looking at edge rusher. I'd be looking at offensive line. I would potentially try to trade out of this spot. Remember, this is a mock with 0 trades. So if we are stuck in this position, quarterback's not on my board, tackle's not worth it, edge rusher's the only thing that's remotely worth it. I mean, I would say Joey Porter, but I don't think Joey Porter necessarily fits. And honestly, I would love for you guys to give me a little more enlightenment on how you guys run your coverage, because I cannot see, like, I don't really look at Joey Porter in the same way that I have other Washington corners. But Myles Murphy, he's an incredible talent. He's going to be super consistent for you. J.J. Watt, he's finally kicking it back up. We all know his career is coming to an end sometime soon. And Myles Murphy's the perfect guy to get in there. I know Cam Thomas is there from last year. I liked Cam Thomas. And then you also have Myjai Sanders. But you have to hit on this pick. And Myles Murphy is just going to be a consistent guy for the next 10 to 15 years. Consistency is kind of nice in a team that there's a lot of things that seem to go wrong every single year. Getting a nice, like, reliable pass rusher and run stuffer, which you guys need help stuffing the run too, always beneficial. So let's go here for number 5. This is a really tough spot. I think I'm heavily leaning towards Joey Porter here. There are reasons to consider Tyree Wilson. Again, we're not trading out. There are reasons to consider CJ Stroud. I'm not one of those who would consider it. I would try to trade out of the spot. With a team like the Panthers, like, again, the Colts are just like, they're lurking. I definitely can see myself trading up with the Panthers for CJ Stroud probably tomorrow. Or I could just see the Colts saying, hey, we're going to make sure that we put our stamp down and get CJ Stroud. But would it be a bad thing if you got CJ Stroud? No. It's never a bad thing to take a free pick from the Rams when you're a playoff caliber team and then get CJ Stroud. But I think the defense needs help. I think that you look at the corners, you need another one. You do. You look at the safeties, you probably could use another one. I love Kirby Joseph. I love Tracy Walker, but you still do need some extra help in there. I would still look at linebacker. Y'all need help. Not this pick, but just in general, defensive tackle. So I pretty much the entire damn defense. I mean, hell, another edge rusher too with Tyree Wilson. I'm going to go after my number 3 player in the draft. I'll scroll down so you guys get to see a little bit more of my board. Joey Porter Jr. It just feels, okay, whatever. Joey Porter Jr. is going to be my man. He is. He's so incredible. And the gap between him and Christian Gonzalez has just increased even more. Jalen Jones is still in there. I'm waiting to really see anything wrong with Jalen Jones besides his athleticism. And I haven't really. I even watched him versus Alabama this year with you guys on all 22, which I don't do my cornerback evals unless it's all 22 because I think it's kind of cheap and chimsy to do it when you don't get to see the whole rep. So again, I know not many people have access to all 22, but for the people who do, or for the people who don't, you can't say you confidently evaluate a corner. Now that's just solely based off of your own ideology or your own like kind of predictive guessing. Which, I mean, all this is, but you're not actually watching the tape. So a lot of these guys, like Joey Porter, I've updated. He's phenomenal. He actually improved, which is crazy. But, yeah, I love Joey Porter with all my heart. I think he's going to be a Hall of Fame corner if he goes to the right system. This one could be one. Could be one of those spots. Pick number 6. It's not very hard to know where I'm going with this one, everybody. CJ Stroud's going to be the guy. Pick number 7. Now, this is an interesting one. I think Tyree Wilson needs to be in the consideration here. I think Kelee Ringo needs to be in the consideration here. I like Kelee Ringo or Christian Gonzalez. Both of them, phenomenal players. Both of them fit the system very well. I know that it's not a priority for you guys to be able to get somebody of that caliber because, again, there's bigger needs like edge rusher, defensive interior, linebacker. I get that. But when you have potential talent levels like Kelee Ringo and Christian Gonzalez, who could be a corner number 2, I think it's totally worth it. Christian Gonzalez has the elite ball hawk skills. I think Kelee Ringo has elite athleticism. And I think I would trust Kelee Ringo to fix up the micro, and then he already has the measurables to be able to help out with the macro, versus someone like Christian Gonzalez, where I see him get beat on double moves a lot. and he doesn't seem to have the athleticism to necessarily make up for it. So for me, Kelee Ringo is going to be that dude. I love Kelee, especially him staying in Georgia. It makes sense, right? It just makes sense. Pick number 8 for the Carolina Panthers. Quarterback seems to be the position I have to force with this one. It really does. And I would probably try to trade back. I would. I don't see too many teams trying to hawk a quarterback in this zone as well. So I would be perfectly fine moving back in a trades mock draft. But you look at how thin this quarterback class is. Anthony Richardson, some people don't even think he's going to be an NFL level starter for like 3, 4, 5 years. So that's not really useful to you guys. If it's late, if you guys have like a pick 19, maybe you do take a shot at that. But you have a pick 8, right? Tanner McKee, not even close, no. Will Levis, he's by far the best quarterback left on the board, and it's scary. It's really scary. Because again, you don't even have Bo Nix, where it's like, okay, you know what, in the second, let's just reach for Bo. He's had a great ascension. He has a big arm. Like, he doesn't seem to have a big attitude. Like, he's not even in this class anymore. Hendon Hooker's old. Like, I'm the honesty broker here, and I love the draft. This class is very weak. Very weak. So you have to maximize on the value. And whether it's an edge rusher like Jared Verse or Will Levis, either way, you're getting somebody who has talent. And I don't think that the new regime that's probably going to be there in Carolina is going to necessarily want another sloppy second QB. This is the way to go. It is. And I don't think it's a very attractive location for many free agent quarterbacks either. You don't really know the head coach. You don't really know that if the system's going to work. It's not a very flamboyant base. So Will Levis is going to be the guy. There's a lot of connections there too. A lot of people hate Will Levis. I honestly am a defender of Will Levis. Now, I'm not PFF level defender, but here, I'll scroll down so you guys can see. He's number 29 on my board. I mean, you can tell I'm not high in this class, but I do know that there is a significant gap between the top 3 and then roughly AR and then the next best guy. Like the range between quarterback 3 and quarterback 5, I think, is like roughly 50 spots on my board, and it probably should be way more. That is insane. So, again, that's like including 3. That's like you have 4 in the middle, but like even 4 to 5, it's big. I digress. The Eagles are sitting here at pick number 9. I wish I could have gotten one of the guys, Joey Porter or Kelee Ringo. I think Christian Gonzalez would be a very nice option, and it's probably one of the routes that I am considering going. But I would much rather potentially try to get Jalen Jones later on. I don't think I will be able to, though, because I do know Washington. I love that for him. But Garrett Williams at the end of the first, he's coming off an ACL tear. He'll be back by the season start. Like, it's not like he's Jameson Williams and tearing his ACL in January. He tore it much earlier in the season. He'll be perfectly fine. So, for me, that's probably one of my late first picks now that we know he declared. So, awesome for that. So, I'm going to go out of this realm, and I'm going to go actually after an edge rusher. And it's down to Tyree Wilson and Jared Verse. There's no 2 other guys that I'm going to consider for this spot. And Tyree Wilson, 6'6", 275, he's a freak. But I think BG gets re-signed, low-key. I think he's just going to end his career here. So it's not necessary that you get someone in that 265 plus. It seems to fit a little bit better than Jared Verse, who's 250. But Jared Verse is special. He really is special. I mean, you are getting a lot of pressure from Josh Sweat. Like, I don't think you need to force an edge pick with this one. I'm starting to talk myself out of it. I'd actually rather get a developmental edge later on. I would. We're going to go corner. We're going to do it. I talked myself back into it. We're going Christian Gonzalez here. I also probably will draft Garrett Williams before that anyways. Christian Gonzalez, not exactly a zone cover corner the way that I would want him to be, but he has the nice frame. He has great ball skills, and he has a great mentor there and big play Slay. So if they get to bring back James Bradbury, awesome. Do it in a heartbeat, especially if it's not $20 million a year. But for right now, we can't project that. He's going to make a big amount of money. Let's see if Christian Gonzalez, we'll just change it up a little bit, add a little spice to the mock draft. Pick number 10 for the Packers. I know Tyree Wilson definitely feels like the perfect pick. I want to change it up a little bit for you guys. This is kind of more of a litmus test for me to see how new fits are, and a lot of you guys have been talking about this, and I love the idea. Hyper athletic, very versatile. You have at least one of these guys definitely leaving, and that's Adrian Amos. So Brian Branch, y'all have been talking about this. I know that the best pick would be Tyree Wilson, but Brian Branch, we need to test out the possibilities here. He's going to definitely fit exactly what the Packers are looking for. They value safety very highly, and Brian Branch, probably one of those guys who should probably play corner, and they're going to stick him at safety, which fits exactly what the Green Bay Packers do. Brian Branch, he literally fits like a glove, so big fan of that for the team. Pick number 11. Peter Skoronski definitely is still on the board for this team. I would not count him out. I do love the idea of continuing to develop that offensive line. I do think that Tyree Wilson at least should be considered, but I don't think that's necessarily the best move for the franchise. It's a weird spot, but I want to test this new idea. And usually if you do have like a new regime, they'll probably try to be a little bit more like conservative, but right now McDaniels is stuck with his back against a wall. And linebacker is an awful position. And I know these past two picks are probably not the best players on the board, but I do want to test out this idea because I know linebacker is a major need for this team. And there's nobody close to the talent level of Trent Simpson in this class. He will be probably overdrafted for that specific reason. It's not like we have Nakobe Dean. Why am I tripping out on the Jaguars linebacker? But y'all know what I'm talking about. There's like multiple guys who are clustered in that first to second range. This class, you have like Drew Sanders and Trent Simpson. That's pretty much it. Jack Campbell's in there too. But like there's nobody who remotely gets close to the potential of Trent Simpson. And I really just want to test this out. This is very much a litmus test for me. I love hearing your guys' feedback. Again, don't be a dick about it because I'm really just trying to hear your feedback so I build better content for you guys. But Trent Simpson, definitely feel like that could certainly be a Raiders pick. They like to reach in the first place. At pick number 11, it's not that crazy. It's not. Pick number 12, we still got to have some fun here. Quentin Johnston's still on the board. Definitely think that is a very viable option. Now, you could try to get like someone like Broderick Jones. Walker Little is going to be starting this coming week. I think it was a torn meniscus for Cam Robinson. So definitely think that you could at least look in that realm. That being said, I'm not going to force an offensive tackle pick here. Peter Skoronski would still be kind of fun to bring on. You could start him at guard to see if Walker Little can make it at tackle. But, I mean, corner number 2, to me, feels like the best move. We're going to go with my normal pick for him, Cam Smith out of South Carolina. He's sticking down there in the South. I love it. It's a good fit. You need that corner 2 to be secured. Pick number 13, Tyree Wilson, definitely on my short list of dudes for this pick. Brian Breezy, I don't like him, but, it is what it is. Let's go. Oh, Michael Mayer. I hear so much about this team loving Michael Mayer. I'm not going to do that to y'all, though. We're going to go Quentin Johnston here. We are. We're going to continue going with the Quentin Johnston train. So, I know, same old picks as usual for the Texans, but it definitely feels like that's the right move for the team. We'll see. Quentin Johnston might jump up his stock based on his play in the playoff, but until then, that's what we got. Steelers, Peter Skoronski is the right pick here. It is. But maybe they just want to go after a pure tackle. So we're going to switch up the player, not the position. Broderick Jones, super consistent apart from Isaiah McGuire. Like, I'm telling y'all, that guy's special. But I just can't draft him this high. It doesn't feel like he's going to get that type of hype boost, even though he fully damn well deserves it. Pick number 15. So it sucks to see that Seattle has fallen to this point. But, I mean, honestly, did we get Will Anderson? We did. It's too bad. Otherwise, Tyree Wilson would be such a good fit. I would love to look at Peter Skoronski, but then you're starting to create some tackle drama and saying, like, oh, we're just going to draft Peter as a pure guard. Would not be an awful idea. However, I'm just not fully down for that, personally. Now, linebacker certainly seems to be a good spot, but I've already taken Trent Simpson. I'm not really going to take another linebacker in the top 15, especially if Drew Sanders is here, because he doesn't really deserve it. But, I mean, this is a really tough spot. Brian Breezy definitely feels like a guy where they'll be like, okay, let's test it out. Super high ceiling defensive interior. You're not going to get much worse if he fails. So, this is where, we're blending in realism here. Brian Breezy is, probably around spot 70 on my big board right now. But, this is definitely a spot where I can definitely see him going. So pick number 16 for the Patriots. Peter Skoronski could definitely feel like one, but my gut just tells me Paris Johnson. I would like to go Jordan Addison, but I'm going to go Paris Johnson here. Isaiah Wynn's going to be gone. Paris has played both on the left and right side of the offensive line. Right side is a guard, left side is a tackle. But that versatility definitely comes in clutch, especially if you have guys who can come in and rotate at tackle, where Paris will be actually more valuable as a guard in the short term. I digress. Pick number 17 for the Jets. Peter Skoronski is another guy who could move in here. Why he's falling is just because I can't see, I want to see teams that could use a guard or a tackle. This is one of them, but you can see that they kind of value those guys who are a bit taller. So I necessarily would not go after someone like Peter Skoronski for this team necessarily. Michael Mayer should still be in consideration. I know there's a lot of big fanboys of that tight end trio there. But, I think this is a spot where let's change it up. Let's go back to my good old roots where I decided to go after DB for this team all the time. Antonio Johnson is just such a fun get for him. I know offensive tackle is the better move, but again, we have to test out how this board would fall if teams don't do exactly the way that they should, which happens every single year. Pick number 18 for the Lions. Tyree Wilson is still here. Did we get Joey Porter with our first? Oh my God. Well, I promise you guys, I'm not a Lions fan. I promise. They just seem to have the best drafts. It might be because y'all inform me. The Lions fans are very vocal, so y'all inform me what you think is best all the time, and I get to use that information for whatever I want, and it helps me out a lot. Understanding your scheme better, understanding the team's draft history better, understanding what the coaches have proven to like more. It just makes a lot of sense to me. So, pick number 19. This is going to be Anthony Richardson. You don't need somebody to step in right away. You still can put Kyle Trask out there. But we're going back-to-back Florida QBs for the Buccaneers. They've done it before. They're going to do it again. Man, Peter Skoronski is still here. And this is the pick that he goes. He fits perfectly. He seems like a Titan, doesn't he? That's such a good fit. Again, I have Peter Skoronski in my top 10. He's right there. Number 9. Continuing on. I'm going to scroll down so you guys get to see a little bit more on my board. 21 for Washington. I usually go corner here. I'm going to decide not to. Just makes sense. I'm not doing this for the Eagles, right? Because I've already drafted a corner for him. Anton Harrison definitely feels like he could be a Washington Commander. Something special about him. Michael Mayer also should be at least in the consideration. He's a very consistent tight end, something that would be probably nice to have a reliable target there. But there's some really good later round targets at tight end, not so much offensive tackle. Anton Harrison is the man. Pick number 22. We're going to go back to the roots here. Jordan Addison. Just too good to pass on at this point. Pick number 23. So also took him away from the next pick. Michael Mayer definitely feels like someone who could be on the short list of dudes to consider. Jared Verse, still a top 10 guy for me. He's on the board, who I think could be even higher. Josh Downs still could be in the consideration as well. Clark Phillips. There are dudes. There are dudes for you to get here. But I'm going to test out getting Michael Mayer. And sometimes you just want to draft a solid player that can just boost your team up 15%. And I think Michael Mayer could do that. You're kind of missing out on that star tight end. I like Daniel Bellinger, but Daniel Bellinger, to be fair, he kind of is a really good complement to Michael Mayer. And I think both of them could exist where both of them can have a lot of success. So Michael Mayer, definitely a fun option. Not my first pick, but certainly somebody where I want to see how the board falls with them going in certain spots. The Ravens, man, dude, the freaking Jared Verse, man. Jackson Smith and Jigba is still on the board. We're going to test it out. We're going to have some fun with Jackson Smith and Jigba, getting a larger target there for Lamar. Pick number 25. I don't think you can pass on Jared Verse here. No matter who else is on the board. You obviously lost Bradley Chubb. He's more inside at 265, but Jared Verse, I would not stop Baron Browning from existing, I would not let Baron Brown stop you upgrading at edge rusher, because I love Jared Verse. And you can kick him inside. He is 250. He could be up to 255. Still a freak athlete. Just one of those players that needs to go higher than what I draft him. And I just for some reason can't find the place. Pick number 26 for the Bengals. Jalen Jones on the board. I heavily want to consider that. This team doesn't need that much. Again, tight end, definitely Michael Mayer would have been a great option. But round 2, if Luke Musgrave's there, take him. He won't be. But if you can trade up for him, take him. There's just guys who are really good in this class. And corner definitely still feels like a position that is probably primed to go after. You could see Darnell Washington being a really nice tight end for this team. There's first round hype for him apparently, and it just depends on how he tests. If he tests well enough, I absolutely see him being a first rounder, but it's just tough to say he's going to be a first rounder. But a really good player, I'm going to go Jalen Jones here. I know you don't need a corner 2, but his value at number 7 on my big board, a little too good to pass on. Pick number 27. Dude, Bijan's still on the board. I think if the Cowboys are sitting here, they just lost out on Tony Pollard. Zeke is awesome. They're still gonna go with. I haven't done this before. We're gonna go with Bijan. We're gonna test it out. I'm sorry, guys. It's not. There's no round 2. It's just muscle memory that decided to do that for me, just because it's fun. It's fun to always want to do a second round. I guess that's a good thing. I'm not time to do a second round. But the Chiefs are sitting here again. The Cowboys have to play defense here. If Bijan's on the board, there's a chance that the Vikings take him. Also, the Eagles take him. So I'm feeling actually a lot more comfortable in that. You got CeeDee Lamb when you didn't necessarily need a wide receiver. You're getting Bijan when you don't necessarily need a running back. But the Chiefs, if you're sitting at this spot, I have taken Jared Verse. Hallelujah. Oh, he's so good. If the Chiefs are sitting at this spot, I would definitely still consider a defensive interior. I want to see the offensive tackles available. Darnell Wright. So I do like Darnell Wright a lot, and I've been a big advocate for him. He does give up a lot of negative reps. He does. He's super consistent with not giving up necessarily pressure, but that doesn't mean he wins his block the whole time. I still think it's worth taking a shot on because he only has had 1 year at right tackle, and he had 2 years at left. So he doesn't exactly have a huge resume to build off of to where he has the right, pretty much, or he has the ability to be that consistent. But I think he can be. The tackles are in shambles. It's totally worth taking a swing on at this spot. Pick number 29. I do think that wide receiver at least should be considered here. Jalen Hyatt. I've drafted him for you guys before. I'm going to do it again. I really like Jalen Hyatt. I decided to do an all-22 study with you guys. He fits a certain role, and it works. It works. He has really good hands. So usually these speed guys, not necessarily the best in terms of their catching ability. Just, it's weird. They drop a lot of balls. They can't catch in contested situations. So for Jalen Hyatt, having that ability definitely seems to be a very big plus. He has a 6.9 or 8.9. I don't know if it's that nice of a drop rate, which is good enough. Definitely pretty damn solid hands. So got to give him credit where credit's due. He's definitely a speed burner. He pops off, similar to how Christian Watson did. Doesn't have the frame of Christian Watson, so I guess that's that. But, when he fits a role, you already have someone who's going to slice and dice in Justin Jefferson. This is a great place for him to be. Pick number 30 for the Bills. The Bills, I've already taken both of my star DBs I would love for them. I think offensive line, this is another spot where Darnell Wright would be definitely wanted. You could put him and just contest what's his name? Now I'm tripping. Spencer Brown. So you can definitely do that, but you don't necessarily have to. And that's kind of nice. It's kind of nice to be a little bit liberated from that. Bills fans, you have not helped me at all decide on what to do besides defensive back for your team. And I know that right tackle is on the chopping block, but we just talked about it. There's nobody here. And again, Javon is hinted at returning. Until he declares, I ain't taking him. Running back, we already saw the one guy who I think should be taken in the first go. Jameer definitely is on the board, but you already took Jameer, maybe 90% of him, last year in the second. Doesn't make much sense to be like, okay, we're going to take another one. Darnell Washington could be a very intriguing option here. He's a super freak athlete at 270 pounds who can play pretty much as an extension as an offensive tackle, which could become your new right tackle if you think about it that way. And if there's a lot of first-round hype on him, let's have some fun and test it out. Bills fans, y'all got to give me some guidance here. You got to give me some help. I'm asking for it. Don't be a dick about it. I think this is a really cool, really fun option. And to end off this mock draft, again, hate to be a party pooper not going to round 2, but we don't need another 2-hour video. The Eagles sitting at this spot. We've already gotten Christian Gonzalez. Edge rusher is plentiful. And B.J. Ojolari definitely feels like he could be a monster Eagle. Felix Anudike-Uzomah, even my number 2 player in the class, Isaiah McGuire, definitely feels like he could be a Philadelphia Eagle. Running back still on the table. I definitely agree should still be in the consideration. There's still some concerns over whether Lane Johnson will retire in the near future, but I mean, it really, like, edge rusher is the way you need to go. And B.J. Ojolari definitely feels like a super nice high upside edge rusher at 250 who has more to be able to put onto his frame. I don't know, he just feels more of an Eagle than Felix, and I love Felix Anudike-Uzomah. Andre Carter, another guy who's definitely really talented. Derek Hall, another really good player. Like, there's a lot of good edge rushers in this class, even after it thinned out. But B.J. Ojolari wanted to show a little bit more love. But that is going to be the mock draft, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay tuned for the trades mock draft coming out, apart from some crazy event happening tomorrow. So thank you guys again. See you on the far side. Peace.